The Shen, or life force, and we say in Ayurveda, Shen is also the Rajas principle, okay, the Rajas principle. And then we have the energy body, the matrix body, okay, and so that's the Sattvic principle. And then we have the mice body, and I say mice, M-E-I-S, it's a word I made up. And all for fair disclosure to you guys, the system that I'm elaborating for you right now, I made up. It's fair enough, right? In disclosure, I feel like I should tell you that. This is not a system that I got from someone else, that I copied from someone else. It is my own synthesis and my own innovation. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay? And this term, the mice body, is an original term that I made up. Okay? Or made up in me. I don't know. I couldn't say one way or the other. But what are it's an acronym. And it's an acronym for the mental, emotional, instinctive, and sexual body. The mental, emotional, instinctive, and sexual body. The mice body is created out of the interaction between the matrix body, the Shen, or spiritual essence, and the tangible physical body. Okay? So there's this dance. We've got concrete material, tangible physical body, tissues, dhatus. Okay? We've got pure energy, prana, chi, ki, puna, life force, breath, wind, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And then we have characteristics of how they manifest consciousness. And that consciousness is manifested in mental activity, emotional activity, instinctive activity, and sexual activity. So the mice body is created out of the interaction between the matrix body, the Shen, or spiritual essence, and the TPB, or the tangible physical body, or the sum of our material parts. So in Ayurveda, we have the undifferentiated cosmic consciousness, which is the original consciousness, which actually has a male and female attribute, okay, which then manifests in this material world with qualities of energy, qualities of concrete material, and qualities of consciousness or cognition, cognitive process and consciousness, okay? And the reality of the environment in which the triad comes into existence. What we know of as personality and psychology of a person is generated here and reflected in the mirror of the tangible physical body, also known as the somatic body. Now that's not my term, that's Professor Thomas Hanna's term, the somatic body, okay, or the emotional body, okay, soma, okay, or the emotional body. We say that the somatic body is the subconscious mind. So in other words, the location of the subconscious mind is actually in the tangible physical body. So where are the emotions stored? Well, they're actually stored in the tangible physical body. They're actually stored in the dhatu. They're actually stored in the tissue. The tissue is where the personality and psychology occurs. It is where the personality and psychology of a person's mind occurs. The somatic body is the end result of the process beginning with the Shen, matrix, and mice bodies interacting with the closest stellar bodies we know as the sun, moon, and earth. Now what I mean by that is, same thing Deepak Chopra means when he says we are made of star stuff. When Deepak Chopra says we are made of star stuff. In other words, there's no atom in you, not one atom in you that's not traceable to its origin to a stellar body. It's not. We're not separate from that. So on some level, I won't say end result, but we're somewhere on a continuum from star to planet, and somewhere in between. I mean, because every atom of our being, every atom of every part of every material originates in the body of a star, or in the process of building a star, the process of the dissolution of a star. And that's actually what I mean by that. Stellar bodies we know as Sun, Moon, and Earth. On a relative scale of vibrational frequencies, the somatic body is the lowest and slowest of all the various bodies. So another way to differentiate these different bodies is by their frequency. And this is where, if you sort of can tap into this idea, it's the origin of vibrational medicines. It's the origin of all medicines that actually use some concept of frequency as determining what the medicine should be, what the correction should be, what's the nature of the imbalance. And what are examples of vibrational medicines? Well, the big ones are homeopathy. Okay, homeopathic medicine is a vibrational medicine, because what determines what medicine is best for anything at any particular time, it's based on a frequency, an idea of frequency. And you use frequency to both make and determine the potency of a remedy. The potency of a remedy, 1x, 2x, 3x, 10x, etc. The higher the number, the more potent the frequency, the more potent the remedy. Higher number, higher frequency, more potent remedy. What's really beautiful, though, is that at the lower numbers, let's say like arnica 1x, arnica 1x only has, and let's say if I had a 10 cc vial of arnica 1x homeopathic remedy, it only has one atom of arnica in it. And so 10x has less. Okay? 10x has less. And I'll explain later why that is and how we make homeopathic remedies and how you potentize a homeopathic remedy. But I'm just giving you this as an example of a vibrational medicine based on frequency. Another one that's actually very commonly practiced around the world is called radionics. And radionics, you think of root word the same as radio. Okay, so it's about frequencies, which could be in the electromagnetic spectrum, but actually it means all frequencies, both those we can measure and those we cannot. Okay, both we can measure. And by the way, the electromagnetic spectrum has changed over the years. In the past, if scientists knew or postulated this idea of an electromagnetic spectrum of radiation, vibration and frequency of the manifestation of energy, but as the tools for measuring and as the computers for modeling have gotten more sophisticated and with greater capacity, with finer sensitivities, the frequencies included in the electromagnetic spectrum has grown. It's grown. It's not the same as it was in my grandfather's generation. If you look at a textbook from the 1930s on the electromagnetic spectrum, and you look at a current textbook at a chart of the electromagnetic spectrum, they're way not the same. Okay? And that's going to continue to change as finer instruments, as faster computers with larger computing power, and as better models and hypotheses for how energy varies come into existence. The realm of what can possibly be measured is going to continue to expand. All right? We want to support that kind of science, okay? Because every time they discover a new frequency, okay, we've just expanded our universe. Our actual universe is just a little bigger than it was a second ago. Our potential to understand it is just a little finer. This kind of thing is really good science and possibly really helpful to us. Radionics, I mentioned, there are many kinds of radionics, right? The most common sort of entry-level radionics, we use terms called dowsing. Dowsing is a form of radionics. It's the idea that you can tune into external frequencies that resonate with the internal energy body strong enough that you can differentiate the difference. Give you an example. I told you there's a pond in the back of the property, there's a pond in the front of the body, and there's actually a spring that runs between them on a north-south axis. And if you continue north into the nature preserve there, there's many little lakes off that way, and eventually there's a river. Okay, just go due north. Okay, if you go south here, there's also more water. Okay, you see an aerial photograph in this area, which I have. You see there's streams of ponds. Okay, but we've determined there's a natural spring between these two ponds. Okay, if you're sensitive, you can take a stick, a willow branch, a pendulum, a coat hanger, and you could walk across the property from east to west, and if you were sensitive, you could actually discern where the spring was and where the spring is not. Okay? And actually there are points where the water's a little higher to the surface and a little lower, and people who have this kind of sensitivity or practice it could actually tell you where those points were, and that would be the best place to put the well. In fact, originally when Richard dug the well here for this property, that's how they determined the location for the well, was through dowsing. Okay, that's radionics. That's a form of radionics. When I use the term, I use it in terms of medicine and therapy. And so, for example, in the EU, in the European Union, radionics is actually accepted as part of a formal practice of medicine. And for example, in Germany, especially, it's very popular in Germany, there are over 9,000 registered medical doctors, MDs, who also practice some form of radionics as a regular course of their practice. And they have their sort of standardized radionics practice. And they use pendulums, and they also use electronic devices which have various kinds of amplifiers, okay? To determine the frequencies that disease is occurring, and frequencies for remedies, like the homeopathic remedies that they're going to apply. And it's all based on energy and frequency, okay? We also practice radionics in SomaVeda. This idea also brings to bear the concept of we are many. This is an important concept. In some systems, there's an idea that a person is a singular. Okay? In SomaVeda, our philosophy is actually there's no singular. There is no I. There is no unified I. There is no singular. When you say, I am sitting in that chair, okay, I say you are wrong. You have a limitation of perspective, which may be based on preconditioning and prejudice, but there is no one anything sitting in that chair. Okay? There's a life force manifesting in the vicinity of that chair. There's a matrix body with a multitude of complexity manifesting in that chair. There's a tangible physical body manifesting in that chair. The tangible physical body and the energetic body are manifesting themselves with emotions and instinct and physicality and sexuality, okay, which is manifesting in that chair. Psychologically, there's no one anything sitting in that chair. There could be anywhere from hundreds to literally an infinity of individual psychological constructs and aggregates of psychological constructs, any of which at any time can take control of your body, invasion of the body snatcher style. And so when you say, I'm sitting in this chair, I say, which I? What I? Who's sitting in that chair? How do you know you're sitting in the chair? And in the moment you say, I'm sitting in the chair, maybe you are. But in the next moment, there could be another I sitting in that chair who didn't even know the other one was there a minute ago, because they don't even talk to each other. We have all kinds of metaphors for this. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So one psychological, emotional, mental, sexual construct, aggregate of eyes can coexist with another entirely different when they have different agendas, different tone of voice, different posture, different outlook on life, different likes and dislikes, different belief systems, all simultaneously occurring in that whatever you say you are. And if you can't tell the difference from one to the other, how do you expect me to tell the difference from one to another? We do it in simple ways. I love trees. I joined Sierra Club. I was cheering for that Mooney girl who lived up in the tree. What's her name? Butterfly?
Julia Butterfly.
Julia Butterfly.
Yeah.
Go, Julia, Butterfly, you know, save that tree. Bad loggers. Boo, bad. And I go to Staples and I buy a ream of extra white paper because when I print on it, the text is more clear. Right? The part of me that supports, let's save the forest, don't cut down the trees, bad global deforestation, and really believes that, really supports that, is really into that, is not the part that gets to be in charge when I walk into Staples and go, give me a ream of your brightest white paper. In fact, when I'm in that mode and I'm buying that paper for my computer, that tree hugger is not even in the room.
Yeah.
Because I can't even reconcile the two. I can't even reconcile the two. Because if I even put them in the same room with each other, there could be a fight to the death in my head, in the middle of Staples. Because, no, I need the paper. No, you don't. No, I need the paper. No, you don't. No, I need the paper. You kill a tree. An angel loses his wings every time you print a sheet of paper from that box. That angel loses his wings. You're perpetuating the global, fascist, commercial, capitalist, corporate economy of the world. You are perpetuating every system that you claim is a cause for illness and death and disease in the planet just because you go and buy a ream of paper at Staples. I have a part of me that actually believes that. And it's real. Okay? You do too. I'm just using this as an example. Okay? Man got so mad with the Gulf oil spill, got so mad. Oh, those people. Oh, BP, Enron. They're out to get us. They are not responsible. They are criminal. They are polluting the planet. They're going to kill all the dolphins and all the shrimps. Even though I'm trying to say I don't eat shrimp anymore. I'm still concerned for the welfare because I just like to know they're out there, but I just wanted to have a chat with them sometime. But even while I'm doing that, I still go put gas in my car, which I buy from them. Oh no, I don't go to BP gas station.
No, we don't.
No, I don't go to BP gas station. No, I go to one of their subsidiaries that they own and furnish all the gas to. As long as I don't have to look at that green label, I'm all good to go. Because don't they produce, what's the percentage of oil that they produce? Gasoline? In the United States, just the one company? How much, does anybody know what that percentage is?
It's a lot, and I know they provide to all of the military too.
Yeah.
So.
Right. You know, and so what is that? Well, that is a personality construct. Okay? And over time, those personality constructs can be so sophisticated that they can actually take over the machine. Literally, take it over, and then you will do something that you would never do. And then later, you might be in a completely different frame of mind going, what just happened? Why did I do that? Well, you didn't. The other I did. You didn't. Same thing with like various kinds of disorders we talk about, where during the day I might be a person who eats salads and eats like a bird and is very, very healthy, okay? But after midnight, I'm going to eat ice cream and pizza. And people do, just like that. They do. And they can't reconcile the two, so they just don't. Okay? But that's evidence of these personality constructs that I'm talking about. We are many. There's not one of us. And so when you talk about treatment, actually it's something that I am wanting to understand better, is I always have to ask myself, who am I treating at this time? Because you know what? I worked with you yesterday and took your pulse and looked at you and I did a little work with you. And you know what? You're not the same person yesterday that I treated. Yesterday you were open and you had a necessity and et cetera, et cetera. And today, it's like it never happened. It's like that conversation never happened. Well, how's that possible? Well, it is possible once you start to understand. We're not one, we're many. Okay? We call all of this stuff together the great body of the Sonata Magnifica. We in fact are composed of many overlapping representations of energy, material, and frequency, which composite to form I or us. This is appropriate, as from the beginning of creation, our great body has been transforming higher vibrations of one order to lower and transmuting lower vibrations of one order to higher. Okay? And I'm just going to, let's see what time is it. All right. So I'm going to stop there for a minute. We'll take a short break, and then I'm going to come back and talk about transformation and transmutation. Okay, what's the difference between those two words and why we should care? Okay, because again, it's part of our strategy of what is SomaVeda and why do we do what we do. Okay. All right, thanks. Let's take a break. About 10 minutes. You've been very attentive. I really appreciate that.
It's 10 after 12.
10 after 12? Yeah, okay.
So
let's take
back
a,
at 20 after.
Yeah, let's take a break, about 10 minutes. That.